in a little while. It's been the first one in a couple weeks. And that's partially because I've been, for circumstantial reasons, somewhat living elsewhere in another house involving 7 animals and a little room somewhere, and I'll explain more details about that at some point. And partially just because I've been focused on many other projects. Now, here in the background, I was hoping to have this changing shape, but I guess I have to remake it because it doesn't like showing the whole thing on the... I don't know how to do the technology of starting the page changing and keeping it that way. It says it's doing the screen capture, but I think it looks frozen, and it doesn't look frozen on the actual thing. So, let me make a new screen capture just because while we were beginning our chatting, I wanted to have a fun little equation or two in the background, and our starting equation was when sine of y plus sine of x is less than or equal to different values between -2 and 2 shifting. So our slider is sending that from -2 to 2, and it's when sine of y plus sine of x is less than or equal to, which in shorter terms than less than or equal to, we could say is that the value of a is at least as much as it is -2 to 2 in this shifting pattern right there. Now, that was just our little backdrop. We'll change it now that we've already seen that, and we'll do a few different ones at a time. Now we stuck a squared one of the dimensions. Now, it's good to be back doing a live stream in the Combo Classroom. I have begun posting shorts and stuff again. I'll have a new one out today or tomorrow, probably a non-math one, but something fun. I have a few random ones in the backlog. And I have been doing well on the Combo Class channel. That is technically my main channel for anyone stumbling by for one of your earlier views to the Combo Classroom. Note that this is technically my bonus channel despite having more subscribers, and that the main Combo Class channel, which is separate from this, you can find linked many places here, has had some good episodes recently related to cool mathematical things, and we'll have another one out relatively soon, within a couple days probably. And that next one will be more of a snack break, but it'll be a historical snack break, a crazy snack break, and an interesting one of a variety of sorts, relating to coconuts, in fact, and some chronicles that I had related to them on a recent trip I took, as well as some interesting history behind coconuts, and some comedic scenes of how hard it is to open a coconut. Now, there will also be an episode coming soon about convergence of a clock-like configuration of bugs. If you happen to live in the area where that clock-like configuration of a certain bug is happening and know what I'm talking about, leave a comment, because maybe I would use some of your footage. I will be making an episode about a rare historic thing that is happening for once in 221 years in either direction. And the 221 years is because that is a semi-prime number. So the connection between primes and bugs will have to be explored. And thank you to whoever left their comment to begin. Thank you so much for joining all of our combo lords who stopped by in the present or future, or unlikely tense, in the unlikely case, the past. Now, I have many topics I would like to discuss today, and some of these topics will just be random little updates. Other topics will relate to current things that have happened in the past couple weeks, either in my life or in culture in general. And since we are approaching the summertime, we will also be discussing some botanical things, such as how the trees above here, that, as I've noted in previous streams, seemed to be non-fruiting, but then I remembered that in the past they seemed to fruit way back in the day, or some tree around here used to fruit back in the day, and now they seem to be fruiting again somehow. I don't know what promoted that. Maybe all of the fires and waters in the combo classroom helped that. Who knows? I don't know if that's more or less likely to be true, but in any case, they have a few fruits on them, and those are something that I'm hoping to try and pick. I have a fruit picker. We could try and do that later in the stream, or if not, I'll do that another day soon. There are also other fruits beginning to become ripe on the property. Some things even have pre-fruit edible things, like these flower petals are from a guava plant. And while the guavas are not ready, we are at the stage where the flower petals are ready. They're actually flower petals and they're actually edible. Now, I mention that because later in the stream, I will be using some of the fruits I have, because I love eating fruit, to create a multi-fruit, something that I like to do once in a while. And a multi-fruit is when we put a fruit in a fruit in a fruit. And we're going to make that happen later in the stream because it's something that I need to do at least once a year. Now, to begin our random chatting, let's first put a new variable in our equation. Well, not a variable, but an exponent on one of the variables. And now it's having a harder time processing it while we're watching it grow and shrink, but it's still looking really cool. Now, okay, then I had like a mini panic attack when I was like, what if none of that was actually showing on the stream? And then I looked at the stream and I think it is showing it. So, yay. So, somebody says they feel like they've entered insanity. It's a little bit of insanity. We mix a dose of insanity in our combo potion, and it's not complete insanity because that will take you off the rails, but a little dose of insanity mixed in with your other things, such as your morals and wisdom and such. A little dose of insanity is not the end of the world, although it may let us predict the end of the world and the rebirth of the world, and the end of a grade and the rebirth of a grade. And in fact, we're getting close to the end of grade -2, and I'm looking rather scraggly because I decided when I gave myself a haircut, which I actually just chopped off the hair myself in the last finale of grade -1, that I was going to see how long my hair grew out in a year, because I predicted this grade would last about a year. Now this grade has lasted a little over a year, and I do want to make 36 main episodes on my combo class channel by the time I call this the end of the grade. And so I am going to have to keep growing out my hair and beard a little longer for my own personal promise, and then we'll be cutting them at about 5 main episodes down the line. Last time, at the end of grade -1, I cut off half my hair, and it took a couple weeks to film the finale, and so for about, I think, 3 weeks or so, I had half my hair off. I went to some parties like that and stuff. I felt really embarrassed at first, but people thought it worked out. And like half the hair on, like this long, and half the hair off. But it's gotten even longer this time because this grade has lasted slightly longer than the last grade. And so we're going to be at a pretty long, scraggly state by the time this grade's done. We still have a couple months left. There are still going to be some important episodes coming, despite some of them being more related to nature or snack breaks or stuff, or finale documentary-like things. There will also just be a variety of other cool episodes still coming this grade. And I am getting back to posting a bunch of shorts. I'm going to go through and finish editing a lot of ones I've filmed over the past couple months that have not been posted yet. And somebody mentioned that maybe I'm an ancient Greek mathematician that invented a time machine so can only visit wacky timelines. Now it's an extra timey time machine if you can go to different timelines. And I cannot confirm nor deny any details about whether I was born on this planet or not. That's all I'll say for now. Now, going forward, what are some other things that have occurred recently? Well, let me see what I have on my little roster here. So I'm going to, for a moment, make myself big again, and then I can fiddle around on the computer and not worry I'm going to reveal anything. I actually have a lot of my Word documents open still that I should close right now. Well, let me double check that it's just showing me right now, because I'm not a tech wizard, so I actually do right now have like a lot of my Word documents showing me. So let me go back to making sure this is showing that. Is this showing that? It seems I'm seeing the past in here. We're just seeing me, right? Yeah. So now I'm gonna close my Word documents because who knows what rare secrets are in those. Don't worry, I will share every secret from my life at some point during the Chronicles of the Combo class. Just not all of them are ready to be revealed quite yet. For example, what topics I might talk about in this stream is one of the documents. And now, let's begin by talking about some random cultural things. And I'm going to talk about a few things, and let's try to change up our variable in the background a bit. We can go back to the thing. I got my thing on the right side where we're not going to see it. So we can shrink me again. And let's change this up a bit. Let's make one a tangent instead of a sine. And we'll change this up every once in a while. So, some cultural things that have occurred recently. Now, let's begin with one, just to get it out of the way. People don't always like when I talk about politics, but I have to note that ex-president and convicted felon Donald Trump has been convicted of 34 out of 34 of the charges laid against him in that type of court currently. And there are more criminal courts to pursue and to follow that are scheduled. But just noting that I recommend in a chaotic year and a chaotic set of years that whether or not you align more Democrat, which I would have to admit I am closer to that, or align more Republican, in either case, think twice before if this felon is allowed to run for president again if you want to vote for that particular felon. So, just gotta say, that to me is actually an amazing thing in the modern justice system, because I was worried that nothing would come of the fact that an ex-president was incredibly treasonous against the entire government system. Whether or not you even like the government system, which I have mixed feelings about, that somebody who was president was unbelievably treasonous and dishonest with documents that related to government security, which aren't even all of the cases that have been tried yet. But so far, 34 convictions, so just to note that. I think that's actually kind of cool. Sorry to anybody who doesn't like the political break. But like I said, that shouldn't apply to whether you lean a particular direction of the names of some party or another. You can also just dislike a particular person for being incredibly dishonest, incredibly bad toward other people, and so on. Now, somebody asked me to move on from that for a moment before we go on to our more modern cultural facts. A fact about the number 34. So, 34 is one of the least interesting numbers from 0 to 99 if you apply the basic facts to it. But there are some details we can mine out of 34. Now, 34 it's one of the less interesting numbers to the degree that before I even try and calculate too deep of thinking what's cool about 34, I'm thinking I should pull open the OEIS, the Online Encyclopedia of Integer Sequences, and see which sequences that is a part of. And somebody's saying math should not be involved with political views. And so math doesn't have to be involved with political views, but two things. First of all, I am not a math channel. This is my bonus channel. Even my main channel is only half a math channel, and this is my bonus channel. And secondary, it doesn't have to be political to think it's interesting that somebody who was a president was convicted for 34 felonies. That does not have to align with a particular political party or not. That can be an interesting thing to historically think about because it is the first time. Now, presidents have an average of more than one half a felony each. But before this, presidents had an average of 0 felonies each. So, it's an interesting historical moment. I'm not even saying that being a felon would be the biggest necessarily off switch that means someone's evil or whatever. But however you want to gauge it, historically interesting. Now, 34 is a Fibonacci number. That's classic. Building up our Fibonacci sequence. And somebody said I'm a math man. I'm going to talk about math a lot because I'm interested in math, but you cannot rely on only getting one thing from a channel called Combo Class. Now, what else is 34 part of? There's so many notes on this because of the Fibonacci sequence, so there's just like an insane amount of notes about that one that 34 is part of because that was the Fibonacci sequence. Okay, it's also the come on, the positive integers. I know it's a positive integer. Okay, now square-free numbers that are not divisible by a square greater than 1. There's also a lot of those in the first 100 numbers, so not that remarkable. Okay, we're going to look at another resource, which is actually Wikipedia. Sometimes has good facts about singular numbers, so let's see if they do. Well, they note that it's our 12th semi-prime, meaning that it has 2 factors. I noted semi-primes earlier in this stream related to the particular bugs that will show up in a future episode topic. And we'll look at these facts about 34 just because it's fun to have a random number that we investigate per day. Then we'll go back to our graphs as our backdrop. But to anybody noting other thoughts, somebody asked, where am I from in the USA? I'm from the Bay Area, particularly the East Bay. Now, it's already probably been mentioned. I'll just say I'm from Berkeley, California, although currently I am living partially in another nearby city and coming here to film often. And so I, in general, am living in the East Bay of the Bay Area of California. And I'm not going to get any more specific than that. And getting back to our notes about our number, oh, 34 is a semi-prime, and 33 and 35 are also semi-primes. I wonder if that's the first 3 in a row. Yeah, it is. It says here that that must be the semi-prime treble cluster. I like that. That's a cool term to look into. The semi-prime treble cluster. How many semi-primes you get in a row? 34 is the middle one of the first semi-prime treble cluster. Now, here's some other random notes about it, and Fibonacci is pretty important. And it is a heptagonal number if we want to note the numbers that are like triangular numbers but level 7. And it is the magic constant of a certain type of magic square. We haven't made an episode about these yet, but I will at some point. Now, going further from here, there are other cultural phenomena I wanted to talk about that, since I haven't made any live stream in a while, I wanted to note. I just have to mention it. I might have to even make a bonus video or a separate live stream about this, but I'm a big fan of hip-hop and music in general. I play a lot of music. I play piano and guitar, and I like to sing and rap, and I make digital beats and things like that. I make all the soundtracks for the main combo class episodes. And we're going to change one more of these variables. And, well, not really variable, but like type of function we're applying to the variable. And in the music realm, one of my favorite genres being hip-hop, I have to note one of the greatest rap beefs of all time occurred recently. I don't think I'm going to go into it in detail in this stream, so I'll maybe even do another stream or bonus video about this. But the modern rap beef between Kendrick Lamar and Drake was very historical and interesting. Now, for anyone guessing the spoiler, I believe, like many people do, that Kendrick was the winner of this. But the way in which he enacted the different plays within this beef, getting to the point where he had been considered the winner and now has a song playing in all the clubs about how Drake's a pedophile, and one on many other levels, is historically interesting, and I'll probably save those thoughts mostly for another episode. To anyone who likes hip-hop, I also recommend Chief Keef's new album, Almighty So too. Now, we will do more music tutorials, particularly next grade, so that'll be maybe starting about 6 episodes from now. I'm going to begin to incorporate music lessons into the curriculum. And I actually taught music back in the day. I was a private music teacher in piano, guitar, ukulele, and a few other types of instrument like that. And the cats are going crazy. What are you guys doing? They're like running up the tree and back down the tree and stuff. Well, one just ran over there. I don't know if you saw. And then they both just ran over there. Where'd you guys go? Oh no, there's Dandelion. Dandy. The cats are just being silly. There. So I've been partially living somewhere else for circumstantial reasons I'll explain later. And so I come here very often throughout the week to film. And the cats are so excited to see me whenever I come back, and they're so cute, and they run up to me at the gate, and they even know my footsteps coming up the gate somehow, and they start squeaking before I even get to it, and then they're like inside the gate waiting for me, and they're so cool. Now, all right, so noting any other responses to comments. Somebody asked if I can explain the number 0. The number 0. Well, the number 0 is the most powerful number. So, and I would say maybe tied with number 1 for most powerful number. But also, if we factor in a lot of things, we could call, if we factor in powerfulness and other traits, 0 could be called the most interesting number for sure. And probably could win most powerful number by a margin over 1 as well. And 0 represents two things. One of them is the absence of anything as a quantity, and one of them is a digit that appears in nearly every base. And in nearly every base, the 0 is our way of resetting to the next place. And so 0 is our reset point to the next place in almost every base, and it's also the void, but it's the midpoint between the positives and negatives, and in a way the midpoint of the complex plane. And so 0 is the almighty. It's the only one you can't divide by on the real number line. Now, various cool comments. Thank you all for leaving all your great thoughts. And moving onward from any cultural things like that, I will note that okay, wait. Let me think of the order that we're doing this stream. So, okay, here's the last cultural one. YouTube-wise, the largest subscribed to channel has changed again. It used to be T-Series, which it's an Indian based company that makes a variety of different types of videos, like music videos and other things, I think. And they have been passed by Mr. Beast. No big surprise if anyone had to guess. There's a singular YouTuber who's passed them. Everyone knows this guy is known for being a very popular YouTuber. Now, my thoughts on the guy: I think he makes B-grade videos, but I think he's an A-grade human. I think he's done a lot for the world. So, he has passed it, and just the fact that a singular human who runs a channel has passed a more media conglomerate type channel is pretty cool, because that's more what YouTube stands for. Like Mr. Beast, I used to watch him way back in the day when he was counting to 100,000. He likes YouTube. T-Series is a media conglomerate. And so that on its own is cool. And I gotta say, for all the hate that some people may have for this guy, because his videos are kind of cheesy and everyone's gonna hate the most popular person making the cheesy stuff, he's done some good stuff for the world. So I don't mind him being the new number one over a media, bigger sort of, company type thing. Somebody says in binary 0 is a different function, and it doesn't really, because what I meant by change to the next place, it still does the same thing. In binary, 0 on its own represents nothing, and then when we have something with a 0, it adds a place. However, in binary, a place multiplies by 2, as opposed to, in our base, a place multiplies by 10. Somebody asked, why can't 1 be 0? Well, if 1's 0, they're probably all going to have to be 0, and then we're probably only going to have one number, and that's going to be kind of boring. So, okay, now we're multiplying our things here while we watch this morph. Now, I may have to remember to change the scale sometimes. Some of these have scales we don't notice them changing, or I may have to change the range of that. Yeah, see, it actually did look cool all along. But the range is unnecessary here. We're just going to go from -1 to 1, and then we're going to maybe miss some of the functions, but we're going to get more action on the average function. Now, Someone said they got the Mr. Beast chocolate and they threw it away because it was really sus packaging. Okay, and that it was didn't have a company address or anything. Um, yeah, I'm not that surprised. He tried to start a burger enterprise and it failed because they were using what are called ghost kitchens, where you just use. Uh, what I recommend is there's a good video by the YouTuber Eddie Burback if you want to see what ghost kitchens are about in a comedic way. Now, um, I'm not surprised. I don't necessarily think that Mr. Beast has the purest business intentions always. I just think compared to the average millionaire, or maybe he's even a billionaire at this point, compared to the average person at that level, he's more humble. He still makes some, dumb decisions for money. Now, don't worry, guys. If I ever get accidentally rich, it's all going to charity. I don't need that much stuff. I live really like a lo-fi lifestyle. I I don't need fancy stuff. So if I ever accidentally get rich through this, we will just have a really, really cool show until we get rich enough we have money to donate to charity and still have a cool show on top of that. Now, but the first thing, if I do get money before that, will go to being able to make a cooler show, which will be hiring more editors and more frequent camera people to help me out on my mission. Now, somebody says, have I turned these into frequencies? I haven't. There's a way on here to make them do this weird sound that like slides along one on here, but it sounds really annoying and crazy. Oh no, my battery's really low. Oh shoot. Okay, I gotta run and get the charger for this. The battery's at 6%, so I need to run and get the charger really quick, and I'll be back within a few minutes. Let's make an extra cool one here. I like when we had sine of x squared. Nope. Plus, it was either sine of x squared in the parentheses plus sine of y squared being less, or it was, yeah, that might have been the one I was thinking of, or was the squared on the outside? Nah, this one looks cool enough. Okay, let me get the charger before this dies. Okay. I'm glad people appreciated me shouting out Chief Keef Sosa. We got some real fans in the house. That's cool. Yes, no. I will make videos explaining this to people who don't understand at some point, but some of my biggest icons are rappers, including people who not everyone would expect, like Gucci Mane, Lil Wayne, and Chief Keef and such. As well as some that some people may expect more so, like people like MF Doom and the Wu-Tang Clan and etc. But some of those people are my icons. Now, somebody asked what charity I would donate to. If I got a little money just to myself for now, like I said, the first thing I would use it on is my show to be able to hire more people for Combo Class, because to a degree I consider my ability to make more frequent videos its own form of charity-esque thing where I'm helping the world if I can make more videos. But, and I'm not counting my live streams, some of these are pretty casual. I mean, like making more full videos and or shorts and bonus videos and stuff that help the world learn. If I had enough money that I didn't know how to invest it in my company, then I would give it to a charity, and the ones I would send it to would be things that preserve the environment or things that helped with education in various ways. So donating things to schools would be great, and donating things to climate preservation and, making sure habitats stay alive and that different animals still are able to stay alive and things like that. Those would be some of my main things. Oh no, I get so wrapped up in the comments. I get too cocky about the 6%. We're down to 4%. I'm going to get the charger. All right, folks. Oh shoot! I almost have the charger. Dang it! This is the wrong attachment. Alright folks, I messed up. The charger isn't here. The charger's in a different city. This is gonna die when my computer dies really soon. Okay, it still says 4%, good. Okay, we're only going to have to keep going until the computer dies. I'll run it the whole time for you folks, but that's 4%. I messed up. The charger is in the room I'm staying in a different city. Now, some people wanted lemons in the chat. I don't know why. Maybe a reference to all of the lemons I've eaten in the past. Either it's a random thing or they're a hardcore fan, because there was a gag among my friends that I would eat whole lemons with the peels just to like mess with how people reacted to it. I would just take a bite out of a lemon. And I got kind of into it, and I was like, these lemons taste pretty good. If you have a good lemon with the peels, kind of like some sour candy. And so it has shown up in an episode. I showed some clips of the times I ate 2 lemons in a row and the times I ate 3 lemons in a row. If you don't know those, make sure you catch up on the playlists on the Combo Class channel, not on this channel, but the Combo Class channel linked all over it, where my fuller episodes go. There are playlists, and among that you will see lemon eating. Now, thank you to everyone who's randomly making comments. Somebody enjoys the shorts, and I will be posting more of those soon. There is one new one I posted relatively recently, and I will be continuing that pattern. And thank you to whoever compared me to Carl Sagan. That guy is awesome. Carl Sagan is an amazing communicator of science and mathematical, to a degree, more so scientific, but you know, they're very linked fields. Amazing communicator. So Carl Sagan is dope. Thank you. And thank you to everybody who's noting the weird rabbit hole we go down on whatever live we're on and all the wildness. Somebody joked about I had a seizure, maybe because I was gone for a minute. Now, I hope this doesn't make you feel bad, because I have a good dark sense of humor. But I've had a seizure before, so just so you know, I have actually almost died from a seizure before. That's in grade 0. We're still revealing all the details about that when the time's right. Don't feel bad, though, for whoever commented. I have a dark sense of humor. Now, somebody wants some number theory. There will be more number theory soon. I'll do a stream when I'm able to get this charged, but it might not be tonight. I might have to do another stream tomorrow to catch up on the other half. I wanted to talk about games, about the new updates I've made to the card games I've been designing, about some interesting facts about a game that I have been into over the years, on and off. Magic the Gathering has released one of their more powerful sets again, and some new combos that are in that whether or not you play the game, I think you'd find interesting the way certain cards interact to allow you to win the game together. And beyond that, I wanted to talk about other game theory related things. Those are going to have to be in the next stream, because, oh, it still says 4%, baby. Yeah, okay. We're good for a second. So, to anybody before it dies, we'll do chatting as soon as I make sure that I fit in. Thank you to all my people who are on the Discord for Combo Class. That should be linked in the description if you want to join that. I haven't been active on that recently, but I'm going to get back into that very soon now that I have a little more time. There's been complicated things in my life that are getting wrapped up a bit. And to anyone who also wants to make sure that they catch up on everything, like I said, the playlists are available on the Combo Class channel of all the main episodes, and on here you can go to the Shorts tab or the Live tab to look at all the old stuff. And there are still a lot of squirrels coming around. Someone left a comment about squirrels at some point, so let me just note that although I didn't get it on film this time, I did still feed a squirrel recently. They're still coming around. And thank you to everybody. Let's change our equation while we still got a tiny bit of time. We're going to put the squareds on the outside this time. Ooh. First, we're going to put just only one squared on the outside. Now, somebody mentioned Friday Night Magic. I used to go to that when I was very younger, when I was about between 8 years old and 13 years old. I would go to events called Friday Night Magic and would play those. But right now, I haven't played Paper Magic in a long time. Someday, I have been looking at, like, I build decks for fun when I'm bored of new combos and stuff. And someday, if I find that a deck I've built costs only like 20 or $30 to get, then I might buy the cards to have a paper deck again. Or I might just draft my own paper cards with friends, because drafting is really fun too. But I don't know, a lot of the cards are really expensive, so whenever I've built a deck, I've been like, I don't want to buy this. But maybe I'll show you the deck lists I've built sometime. Now, somebody said I should get another charger since the other one's in another state. It's not in another state, but it is actually in another city. Now, somebody's saying the stream ending because whoopsie is a very combo class thing to happen. It is. Speaking of whoopsie, you guys want one bonus fact? Well, here's the thing. When I was younger, I thought the term whoops was really cool. To like whoop someone, like WHUP, usually that one's spelled. Maybe sometimes also spelled WHOOP, but like you beat them. And it could mean like you beat them up or something, which wouldn't be nice to do to a person, but it could also just mean like you beat them in a game or something. I whooped you, like you really beat them. So I wanted, when I was young, I must have been about 5 or 6 or 7 or so, my cake of my birthday to say Dimitri Whoops, because my parents asked, like, we're getting a cake, they say they can write something on it. What do you want? I want to say Dimitri. That's my birth name, honestly, not Demotro. Sorry, guys. But I want to say that I whoop. But they put Dimitri, comma, whoops, like WHOOPS, exclamation mark, like an accident. So that was the cake we had. It still worked, close enough. Now, thank you to everybody who is noting random things. Someone says I'm a god in India, and I do have a lot of Indian viewers. That is really interesting, and I would love to figure out why that's the case, and I would love to get to know my Indian viewers better, because I've never had the chance to go to India, but it seems like a very cool culture to me, and that's very cool that my videos are able to spread all the way over there. And to whoever commented the thing like that, it's basically exactly like that, except Dimitri does have 3 eyes, kind of like Demotro has 3 O's. Maybe those are linked. Maybe there was some cosmic glitch one day that turned the eyes to O's. Maybe we'll have to explain that when we're not at 3%. Oh, this is a good battery, apparently. This thing's really lasting. So, we get to chat until this gets down to 1%, maybe even 0 if I don't notice. And the other things that I wanted to talk about in this stream briefly were a really cool stalk of bamboo that was growing over there that is really large. I'll show it. I should have filmed it earlier in the process because it was about my height last time I was here a few days ago, and now it's like feet higher than that. And this bamboo stalk grew unbelievably quick upward. It's taller than the house already. And so I want to show that. It also shed all this stuff that's now like hanging out on the side of the classroom. And I also was going to make the multifruit. Oh, we have to make the multifruit really quick. I said I was going to make it earlier in the stream. Okay, really quickly, let's try and make a multifruit before the computer dies. I'm going to close that other window so that it doesn't clog up the computer too much. So I'm closing that other thing, and now we're just going to be on multifruit cam. Now, for the multifruit cam, it's very dark. I think we can just get it from the computer brightness. So, we need to make a multifruit. Here's how it works. When it's summer, these fruits are available, and they're 3 of my favorite fruits of all time. This is the classic multifruit, we'll call it, but there are other varieties. Typically, a multi-fruit has 3 layers, but you could try and show me a version where you make with 4 layers, and I'd be very impressed if you had a 4th fruit. The outer layer is typically going to be something like an apricot, a peach, or a plum, something with a larger type of stone fruit, a larger pit. And then we're going to take one of the smaller stone fruits, typically a cherry. Although I was thinking today about other options, and I thought a really interesting one would be a lychee to do for the inner one. Now we're going to slice the cherry in half. And if you really want to get good at the multi-fruit process, here I'm trying to show it all, but you can like half cut it to extract the seed without breaking one half of it, and then you can keep it intact when you bite it. So ideally you don't have it split in two like this. You like extract the seed a bit more, but I'm just like showing the whole process and making it a little easier. We can also do it this way. So now I'm going to extract the seed of the cherry, because it's like, well, I'm putting the cherry to replace the pit of the apricot, but the cherry has a pit. So then we take a blueberry to replace that. We use a blueberry as the cherry pit. And this was a pretty small cherry, so I'm going to have to use a pretty small blueberry, but you can use ones that fit your size. Then you seal it. Ideally, I would have extracted the seeds a little better, so it would have been more intact from the get-go. Now I can eat an apricot, but instead of having to dodge a pit, when I hit what would be a pit, I hit a cherry. But instead of having to dodge a pit of that, when I would hit a pit, I hit a blueberry. Okay. Someone said it's a 3-then fruit sandwich. It is. 3s come up all over. 3 was not even intentionally put into this, but I noticed that every type of fruit I used, the amount that I could do a 1 inside 1 inside 1 ended up being 3. So, somebody said nobody wants to hear me eating. Okay, sorry if that was loud to the camera or something, but it's a live stream. We're making multi-fruits. You're going to have to deal. So, somebody compared it to a turducken, and it is similar to a turducken as well. And somebody mentioned a nectarine somewhere. Those are also a good one for the outer layer if you wanted for the one way on the edge. And somebody said this is for the more advanced students in the class. Exactly. You don't understand, but it's actually true. We're at 1%, so warning, it could die any minute. But it's actually true that the more beginner students in the class get hooked on the math and understand the math. I'm not putting down the math in any way. It's one of the most important parts of the channel and of what I want to teach. But it takes a little more to understand the philosophy. And the philosophy relates to why we eat fruit, why we light stuff on fire, why we go on hikes, and a lot of that stuff. So you'll have to come to terms with the philosophy while you learn the math. Somebody said it's like Pac-Man's dream. Oh yeah, because Pac-Man eats all those fruits when he's going around. I used to play a Pac-Man machine in this old ice cream shop. Used to go get ice cream once in a while. It sounds so old-fashioned, but it's true. And they had a Pac-Man machine, and it was the first time I'd played it. Because when I grew up, like, you didn't have computers everywhere. The computers had a few simplistic games, and not everyone had Pac-Man or whatever. So I had never played Pac-Man until I played it a bunch of times at this real old machine that had it. And it was when I was getting ice cream with my friends. And we were really into figuring out how far we could go on it. So, somebody say the cursed version is just a bunch of fruit peels inside each other. Yes, that's very true. That would be the cursed version of this. Although, like we have covered in the combo class episode, technically could be edible for a lot of things. But it would still be a lot more cursed. A bunch of pits somehow put inside of each other would be the most cursed. But I don't know how you'd pull that off. Now,